time for Change My Mind, the power of persuasion, the most persuasive show on ETV. Here's your host, Lena My Way.
Welcome to Change My Mind. We have a great show tonight with guests, clips, and picks full of persuasion. We'll see how effectively they persuade us and why. So let's get started.
What the French toast?
Did you think I wouldn't find out about your little doo-doo head cootie queen?
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint licker?
Pickle, you cunt!
Overreacting.
No, Bill, overreacting was when I put your convertible into a wood chipper. Stinky McStink face! You Hoboken.
Fabulous. New Orbit Raspberry Mint cleans another dirty mouth. For a good clean feeling, no matter what.
So, what do you call using derogatory implications or innuendos to turn people against something?
Name calling.
That's right, name calling. And it's amazing how common name calling is used in the art of persuasion. Name calling comes in the form of loaded words that go beyond their dictionary meaning. It's what we call connotation. Loaded words are designed to manipulate. When you use them in your writing assignments, you have to know your audience and the effect that your words will have on them. Advertisers use them all the time. A perfect example can be seen every Thanksgiving. One marketer of Thanksgiving turkeys calls their birds butterball turkeys. What are they describing? Well, basically fat birds. But do you think many people would buy the fat turkey brand when they shop for Thanksgiving dinner? Now, the people in the Orbit commercial were name calling for a comic effect. Let's see how advertisers use a more subtle form of this technique.
I used to think it didn't matter what deodorant I chose. Dumb. This test shows that Old Spice is the right choice. Old Spice performs in real man situations like basketball, recon, and try Old Spice, and if you still don't think it's awesome, call 1-800-PROVE-IT, and they'll buy you a stick of something that smells like wildflowers and shame. Take the Old Spice challenge. I did.
Wow, can you believe what he just said? It's just like what you see on the schoolyard, name calling. All deodorants are basically the same, but this guy's trying to convince us that real men use Old Spice.
So, what did that commercial do to convince people to change brands?
Well, he opens up with a statement that you would think would be true, and he says that it's dumb. Then he refers to the competitors as smelling like wildflowers and shame. What real man would want to smell like that?
Did it work? Would you switch to a different deodorant? Would you?
We'll be right back. You'd probably find the first political cartoon drawn onto the wall of a cave. Grog draws an unflattering picture of Raquel over some prehistoric incident of political posturing. You know, Grog's party for a balanced budget and Raquel's for low-cost caves for everyone. Today the issues are different, but political cartoonists still have a field day over political shenanigans, and that often gives them a license to call names. But political cartoonists seldom need words for name calling. They easily do that with the pictures they draw, like with this cartoon about President George W. Bush. What is the cartoonist trying to say about him here? Do you see the subtle form of name calling? The cartoonist is calling the president a foot dragger on the subject of Middle East peace.
I changed my mind, I changed my mind, I changed my mind, and I changed my mind.
Let's see how often the candidates use name calling in their campaign ads.
They went quietly to the floor of the Senate, cast the right vote, but there is a difference between leadership and legislature.
You want to name names?
No, I think it's obvious who I'm talking about.
I think it is important to lead. And I think, John, the fact is that I oppose this war from the start.
This is George Bush's war. He is responsible for this war. He started the war. He mismanaged the war. He escalated the war.
This, I think, is one of the things that's happened during the course of this campaign, that there's a set of assertions made by Senator Clinton as well as her husband that are not factually accurate.
In an editorial board with the Reno newspaper, you said two different things because I have read the transcript. You talked about Ronald Reagan being a transformative political leader. I did not mention his name.
Your husband did.
Well, I'm here. He's not.
Okay, well, I can't tell who I'm running against sometimes.
Senator Clinton's campaign has made a big issue of this. To be blunt, they've accused you of plagiarism.
Right.
How do you respond?
Well, look.
The web gives students a largely unregulated forum for offering opinions. It's not unusual for students to criticize their friends, relatives, even teachers on the social networking websites. Usually, this criticism takes the form of name-calling. Let's welcome our guest, Cat 5. Cat, you had a rough experience with internet name-calling. Tell us about it.
I did, Lena. I used a social networking website for a couple of years. It was a great place to chat with kids who had some of my interests. I really enjoyed my experience until I let someone into my group who started to call one of my online friends some unflattering names.
What happened?
Well, she took it pretty hard. I found out that she was so upset that her grades started to suffer and she needed counseling. We have to remember that words can hurt. Since then, I've been more careful about who I let in my group and about what I say about other kids online.
Thanks, Kat. Before we go, there's more you need to know about loaded language. It takes on more forms than simple name-calling. Take euphemisms. They're a kind of doublespeak, where something bad is sanitized and twisted to make it seem better. Like when you watch a newscast about a war and they talk about heavy casualties, when they really mean troops are dying in combat. Or glittering generalities. You see that a lot in political campaigns where they use slogans or simple phrases that sound good but really give you little or no information. You know, a vote for me is a vote for peace type of statements. Another popular technique is repetition. Advertisers like this technique, especially the makers of Head-On, applied directly to the forehead. You also see a lot of rhetorical questions or fallacies floating around the world of persuasion. That's when you ask a question where no response is expected because the answer is obvious. Like when your mom says, "Is your room going to clean itself?" Finally, there's the technique which makes you think you're getting something for nothing. This technique plays on the idea that most people are seeking a bargain. For instance, a computer maker says you can buy a certain computer and get a printer for free. So, think about what you saw. Did loaded language persuade you to think in one direction or another? Did you take up sides? Are you more likely to choose one deodorant over another, one candidate over another? Be careful of the words you use to manipulate your audience, and be aware of the words being used to manipulate you. That's it for this edition of Change My Mind. I'm Lena My Way.